Happy Monday, my friends. Let me know in the comments if you drink bone broth. Let me know if you take collagen. Let me know if you do both. There have been a lot of questions since I posted the reel this morning about bone broth, about if you are vegan, if there is a vegan bone broth. Is collagen better than bone broth? Let me know your questions in the comments. And I do have a discount code, which I shared in the reel earlier today. So if you are in need of bone broth, I really strongly urge you to stick with a very quality organic option. But to answer that question, which is better, they're completely different. Okay, so they're very much overlapping in things they can aid with in the body: joint health, bone health, hair, nails, all of that, growing and being nice and strong. But all in all, the way that they work in the body are different. So collagen, I'm just going to answer some commonly asked questions. Collagen is not a complete protein, no. So if you are getting a ton of if you're trying to count your protein for the day and you're using collagen and that's the majority of your protein, then you're going to be missing the mark. So you want to incorporate collagen as just that, an incorporation, a supplement, and make sure that you're getting your complete proteins otherwise. And you're 60, do you have to take collagen? You don't have to do anything, but I think it's very beneficial, especially for aging women. And, so many benefits, especially for joint health. I know a lot of us do start getting the aches and pains, osteoporosis with bone health, and just helping boost the collagen production overall, hair, skin, nails. That is something that does start showing, especially in females as we get a little bit older. Our skin gets a little bit more crepey. We start losing volume in our face, and that's why all these women are getting all of the injections and the fillers to make themselves look young again. And then your hair starts getting thin and dry and all of that. So the list can go on. And of course, for men, it's beneficial too. But females, because of the decrease in estrogen and also the other sex hormones, even testosterone going down, it's going to take a toll on you. So collagen, whether you want to incorporate it from that or if you want to get some of the same benefits from bone broth, again, they're beneficial in their own ways, and they do act a little differently once they're in the body. So just something to consider, but you can definitely incorporate both collagen, peptides, and also bone broth. And I do love the benefits from a gut barrier standpoint. So bone broth especially is something really good, super easy to incorporate, and it's a whole food. So I think that there's a lot of benefit to sticking with food first. And I actually had a client the other day, and she said, she's almost 60, and she said, I've heard a lot of great benefits to collagen, but my doctor was kind of prepping me, and she said that a lot of people struggle with GI distress and some things, which honestly, the collagen I use, I've not noticed any GI disruption. But again, everybody's a little different. So whereas with bone broth, it's not something that I've heard from many people gives them any bit of discomfort, especially if you just sip on about a cup at a time. But what I love about bone broth is that you can actually cook with it. And, collagen, I think you can sprinkle it in and kind of use it in protein bowls and things like that. But again, we want to kind of get away from doing so much focus being on the powders and the bars, whether it's protein powder, it's collagen powder, it's bars made with protein, whether it's vegan, it's whey, it's collagen. I mean, that's all great as a supplement. But I think that at least with a lot of the women I've worked with over the last 20 plus years, everyone's super busy. And so it's just a very convenient, easy thing to do to start using protein powder, to start using collagen powder. And eating protein bars. And then you kind of take a step back and you're like, wait a second, I was having results initially. Now I'm having some GI distress that presents every single day. I'm not able to burn fat as efficiently as I did initially. I'm just not feeling my best. And I think it's because we're taking the emphasis away from the majority of our nutrients coming from whole foods, and we're getting majority of it from supplements. It's like that shift happens for a lot of people and they don't even really realize it. And sometimes I'm like, okay, send me your meal list or your foods that you consume. Give me like a 3-day log. And then I'll be reading it. It's like, okay, I wake up and I have a protein bar. For lunch, I have a protein shake, and then I've got like 1 cup of vegetables. And then between, I do another protein bar. And then for dinner, I'm doing protein pancakes made with the protein pudding. And I'm like, oh my God, it's all supplements. And, you know, it can be really beneficial just to have those for when you don't have time to cook. But I know for me, I am such a creature of habit and I love what I love. And so sometimes I'm making different creations to share with you guys, whether it's, you know, protein balls or it's a protein pancake or a protein waffle. And so then I freeze it. And sometimes I get into this groove and I'm like, oh my God, like I really want to have this again for dinner, but I know I need to have some food. So real food all the way. I completely agree. And they've definitely done research with people who are consuming all of their food from Whole Foods, like people that are struggling with fat loss. And then they've taken 2 groups, and one group was incorporating protein powder multiple times a day, having protein bars, and then the other group was not having any supplementation, 100% Whole Foods. And that group, the Whole Foods group, started seeing results way quicker. Same amount of calories, same amount of macros. So food first, I cannot stress the importance of it. And I know I talk a lot about the different recipes I use protein powder. So I always want to make that very clear that having your ingredients, your nutrients coming from food should always be the main focus. Now with bone broth, I have Kettle and Fire is the brand that I love. They have soups. They have keto-friendly soups, and their keto-friendly is actually healthy. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, when you see anything marketed as keto, it's usually full of junk. So this is not. So definitely look into Kettle and Fire. I do have a 20% off discount code, and you can cook with it, with rice, with pasta, anything that requires you cooking it in water, or just even like tempeh. I make tempeh and I boil it before I make it to kind of take out that bitterness. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had tempeh, and if you've had it and you didn't like it, did you try boiling it first? But you can boil it in some bone broth. And I know that some people are a little weird, you know, with having bone broth. And so if you're looking for a vegetarian option, there is vegetarian, you can do vegetable broth. Now it's not going to have the same exact punch in terms of the benefits, but it's going to have some. And so you can always go that route, and then you can supplement with, you know, a vegan. You can do the aminos because there's BCAAs that will kind of give you a little bit of that extra something. But again, try to get as much whole protein as you can in your nutrition. If you're vegan, then do tempeh, tofu, edamame, miso, things like that will be really beneficial. And chickpeas. So obviously you're going to get a lot of incomplete proteins, but then you need to make sure that you are getting whole, complete proteins if you are vegan. And so I went vegan for about 5 years, was highly deficient because I did not supplement properly. So I beg of you, if you are taking that very extreme, and yes, it is extreme because you are cutting down your options significantly. And if you're doing it for religious reasons, for animal rights, I'm all for it, but you just need to be smart about it and you need to supplement properly. So that is that. And then, but yeah, I love the fact that bone broth can actually add, I mean, I made rice the other day, so I actually bought the Banza rice. Let me know if you've ever tried the Banza, the chickpea rice. But it has additional protein, additional fiber compared to regular traditional rice. And I actually cooked it in the bone broth, in the chicken flavored bone broth. And that's all there was. I put a tiny little bit of grass-fed butter after it was all said and done, and I had my daughter take a bite, and she's like, oh my gosh, it's delicious. It almost tastes like mac and cheese. I don't know what, I mean, it did kind of have a cheesier taste to it. And it almost made it like somewhat creamy. So I don't know. I was all for it. So if you guys want the discount code to Kettle and Fire, they have like a turmeric ginger flavor, which is really great for multiple things for us women. So yes, definitely turmeric. They have a beef broth. They've got mushroom chicken flavor. They've got regular chicken flavor. I don't know if they have any vegetable options, but I don't know. I'll have to check on that. But they have the soups already, so a lot of different options. So drop in the comments if you want that code, bone broth, and I'll send it your way. And that's it. So have a great rest of your night. Oh, and then one last thing, very excited because we are 2 days away from my launch. My Thriving Hormones Masterclass launch will be on the 1st, and the first 7 days will be at a discounted rate. So you're going to be saving about $20 on the class, and it's going to be at a very, very affordable rate of $27 for anyone that purchases. This is going to cover all things. And my vision, someone asked me years ago, they're like, what do you really wish to get out of your career? And I think for me, at least right now, it's to get information into your hands that is useful for you, but also to be able to have you take that information and relay it to your young daughters to aid in their journey. Because, the things that and I know I'm taking a sharp turn here, but let me know your thoughts on this, females. We were not told anything in school about our menstrual cycle. There are 4 phases. You only, have 2 days at most each month that you ovulate. And this ovulation time is the only time you can get pregnant. And, if you focus on gut health and eating the proper foods, you will not have miserable periods, and you do not need to be on birth control. There are other options. There are natural methods. All these things that we didn't know. And honestly, I didn't know until I was in my late 30s. And I think about the length of time I was miserable. I was put on birth control because my parents didn't know the difference. They just knew I was having a really, really hard time with my cycle. So I was put on that. So then that disrupts your hormones clearly, and just all these issues happening. And I'm thinking thank God I've done the research myself now so I can share it with my daughter. So when she does get to that age, we can start seed cycling, we can start cycle syncing, we can start focusing on gut health, and that will just help her journey that much more. So I'm all about starting with the natural methods and then moving into other territories, testing and whatnot when need be. But anyhow, so that's my goal with this masterclass. It's to present it to all of you women, but then also have you share it with your younger daughters. Maybe if you're a grandparent, have them share it with their daughters, your young friends, so we can really understand what's going on. So anyhow, I'm done now, but I will tell you about this masterclass here in 2 days when I'm launching, and it's going to be great. I'm super excited. I've had a few people that have taken it just as trials so I could get their honest feedback, and everyone thinks that it's really, really helpful. So that makes me happy. All right. So again, after I post this, you're going to have to drop bone broth in the comments to get that 20% off discount code. You do have to spend $25 or more to get the discount. Just want to be clear on that.